Ladies and gentlemen, this is a reminder. Please keep your mobile phones on silent during the entire show, and please keep seated during the entire show. For our media colleagues and AMI fans, we will have a dedicated photo opportunity at the end. Please remain seated and do not leave your seat. We will be starting the show in exactly 1 minute. Thank you so much for your patience.
Good afternoon. A big warm welcome to everybody, our media colleagues, me fans, and all our partners. And a special welcome to everybody who's watching us live. Thank you so much for taking out time. My name is Gizmo Gyan. I'm a global VP with the firm, and I head Xiaomi's business here in India. Let me start by introducing Xiaomi's unique business model. As many of you know, the first product that we built many years ago was MIUI. And then we built a host of internet services. And these are the key products that we want to take to all our Mi fans. And our hardware products are amazingly beautiful smartphones, smart TV, smart routers, smart ecosystem products are just a vehicle to deliver these internet services to our consumers. And then we have new age retail business, our Mi.com and Mi Home, which allow us to take these amazingly beautiful hardware products to our consumers. And this is a business model which has worked very well in China and also in India. We started our India journey 3 years ago, and we have been growing exponentially since then. In just last 1 month, during the Diwali month, we sold more than 4 million units. And this was pretty... And this was pretty incredible because this was the first time ever that a smartphone company sold 4 million units in India. We were the #1 selling brand across both our partner platforms, Amazon and Flipkart. And during the first 2 days of sale, which was the 20th and 21st of September, we sold more than 1 million units. And we were selling 300 phones every single minute. Thank you. This was also the best ever quarter for Xiaomi India. In just one quarter, which is July, August, September, these 3 months, we shipped more than 9 million units. Now, we started our India journey 3 years ago, in July 2014, when we launched our first device, Mi 3. And during those 3 months, we sold only about 100,000 units. On our first anniversary, which was Q3 2015, we touched 1 million units for the first time. Last year, which was the second anniversary, Q3 2016, we touched 3 million units for the first time. And this time, we have crossed 9 million units for the first time ever. We continue to remain the fastest growing smartphone brand in India. If you look at the latest reports from Canalys and Counterpoint, both of them say Xiaomi has grown more than 250% year on year. And it is much faster, it's the best or the fastest growing brand in India right now. Not just this, if you look at the top 3 selling phones in India, all 3 of them are Xiaomi phones: Redmi Note 4, Redmi 4, and Redmi 4A. And this is pretty incredible. Thank you. After many years, the top 3 selling phones are from the same brand, which is Xiaomi. And I would want to specifically call out Redmi Note 4 because this was the #1 selling phone in India in Q1, again in Q2, and now in Q3. And this is special because a 10-month-old product continues to be the best-selling phone in India. And today, here we are. We are here to launch a new series. In fact, we are not just launching one single phone, but we are making 4 big announcements today. The first big announcement is launch of a new series, which we are calling Redmi Y. Now, why Redmi Y? Why? Right? Why this name? So Redmi, as all of you guys know, stands for power and performance at a very affordable price. And that's why it has become India's favorite smartphone series in a very short period of time. But we also know there's a huge set of audience for whom self-expression and lifestyle is very important. And this series has been designed keeping in mind needs of these consumers. And what is a better way to self-express than selfies? So this is the first selfie-focused phone, and the alphabet Y denotes you. It denotes young, the younger you, today's youth population. So this is the first big thing that we will be talking about today. We are also launching MIUI 9, and the lightning sign here denotes the super fast MIUI 9. And to talk about MIUI 9 and many other products, I'll call on stage Sir Jayamani.
Thank you. I like the suspense. Thanks. Thanks. Great introduction. Thank you, Manu. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today, especially the Mi fans and everybody joining us on the live stream. As Manu mentioned, my name is Jay Mani. I lead product for us here in India, and we have 4 things to announce for you today, and I'm going to do 3 of them. So first, keep up the theme of suspense. First, MIUI 9. MIUI is now available in 56 different languages across 220 different countries and regions. And importantly, we have over 280 million activated users all time on MIUI. This makes MIUI one of the most popular operating systems in the history of computing. It's really, really awesome. And a lot of the Mi fans here today first used MIUI by flashing it on another phone. Many of you know that MIUI was actually our first product that Xiaomi ever launched. It was launched a full year before we ever launched our first smartphone. So why is MIUI so popular? Why would you flash it onto another phone? Well, it's because of a lot of the great features, some of the stuff that you see here, things like themes, scrolling screenshots, dual apps, second space. So we asked Mi fans from around the world, people who have been using it for years, what is their favorite thing about MIUI? What do they like best? We shot a video for this. Let's take a look.
And I'm a Mi fan from around 2013.
Saya pakai Redmi 1S pertama ketika ada produk.
MIUI हा पहिल्यांदा 2014च्या सुरुवातीला
Itu MIUI 5 ya.
I know MIUI almost for 7 years.
The user interface is really smooth. It's so simple yet elegant at the same time.
Mi Mover, jadi misalkan kita ganti HP, nggak perlu copy data.
The best thing I love about MIUI is the themes, obviously.
डुअल ऐप की हेल्प से मैं 2 व्हाट्सएप अकाउंट चला सकता हूँ एक ही फ़ोन पे.
तुमचा एक फोन एकाच फोनवरती तुम्ही 2 फोन वापरतायत. It made the experience really seamless.
The security apps installed in MIUI makes Android very fast to use, and I love it.
Update-nya setiap minggu.
dari dulu ketika saya pakai tahun 2014 sampai sekarang 2017 itu tetap ada namanya update per minggu. Itu luar biasa sekali.
Smart,
Cepet,
innovative, clean,
उपयोगी,
brilliant,
सुंदर,
kencang.
and it's easy to use.
If we can run 2 apps parallelly on a single screen, I would love to see it.
OS-nya belum sempurna kalau gitu.
I hope so that Mi Drop will come for all the Android users.
Cái thì mình đã trải nghiệm qua cái bản MIUI 9 bản beta rồi. Thì hy vọng là cái phiên bản MIUI 9 bản chính thức sắp tới ổn định hơn.
Okay, so today we're unveiling MIUI 9. And actually, we did a lot more feedback. We got a lot more feedback from our fans. We sent out over 70,000 surveys and got over 12,000 responses, asking fans, asking people what they wanted to see in MIUI 9. Here are the results. You can see by far the top request was speed. It's twice as much as the second choice. And so naturally, our top focus for MIUI is speed. And MIUI is fast. We made a lot of performance improvements to make this happen, but today I'm just going to talk about 2 of them: faster app launches and a smoother UI. First, let's dig into the app launches. So there are 3 main areas that we focused on here, and I'm going to describe them briefly. So optimize touch feedback. The first thing that you do when you want to launch an app is you touch the icon on your phone. So optimize touch feedback. We have improved the speed at which we can detect the touch. So basically, after you touch your phone, MIUI 9 responds much more quickly. After we know that you're going to launch a phone, the next thing that happens is CPU acceleration. So we ramp up the clock speed because we know you want to launch an app, and this makes it happen a lot more quickly. And finally, optimize thread scheduling. So on your phone, there's a ton of stuff happening in the background, apps, downloading things, notifications, etc. Optimize thread scheduling makes sure that we prioritize available resources on your phone to the app that's launching. So what are the things, how does all this shake out? What are the results of all these improvements? Well, it's a little difficult to explain, so we shot another video to show a comparison of MIUI 9 running on Redmi Note 4 and the Samsung J7 Max. And we compared the top app launch times for the top 50 apps in India. And we actually have another video showing the results here. So let's take a look. Thank you. So as you can see, MIUI 9 and the Redmi Note 4 was faster on 34 out of the 50 apps. But once you actually launch the app, the most important thing is how smooth is the experience? How well does it perform? And we spent a lot of time on this in MIUI 9. Ton of optimizations. I could spend hours talking about this. Actually, probably we could spend a few days. We'll try to keep it brief. I'm going to just talk about 3 of these things. So this one at the top left here, automatic background activity management. Basically what we do is we take the stuff that is not time sensitive that's happening in the background, and we make sure that it runs in serial, so one after another instead of all at the same time. And this is so that the stuff that's happening in the foreground doesn't have any bottlenecks because of background activity. Next, we have dynamic resource allocation. This makes sure that the hardware, things like CPU, your RAM, ROM, read-write speeds, input-output, that all of those resources are dedicated to the stuff that you're actively doing. And again, things that are happening in the background use a little bit less power. And then the third thing here is improved data transmission efficiency. So much like the other things, this makes sure that when you're using an app, the available bandwidth that you have is prioritized to that app. If you're downloading something, but you're playing a game, your game will get the priority bandwidth to make sure it doesn't affect your gaming experience. And all of these things are focused on making the UI smooth. So the things that happen in the background don't affect what you're actively doing. And we showed an earlier test. This test, I think, is one of the most important things we do. It's a 6-hour test, which is designed to simulate the user experience. We do a bunch of system functions like scrolling through the UI, browsing home screens, but also third-party apps, things like browsing your Facebook news feed, sending WhatsApp messages. And we try to simulate what is a real-world experience. How does it work? And this test precisely measures latency. What we do is we use a high-speed camera and detect any latency over 100 milliseconds. It's a little bit easier to explain with the video. I actually took a tour of our labs a few weeks ago. We have a bunch of robots to do this very precisely. Robots are always cool. So let's take a look at the video here. So over this 6-hour test, the J7 Max has more than 45% cumulative lag time. But I think these results probably don't surprise many of you. And the thing you really want to know is, how does MIUI 9 compare to stock Android? Well, we first started to benchmark ourselves against stock Android over 3 years ago, after we launched in India and we started getting feedback from Mi fans. And to be honest, 3 years ago, in our benchmarks, we were worse. And so that's why performance has been the biggest focus of every MIUI version since then. It's the first thing that we talked about in MIUI 7, it was the first thing that we talked about in MIUI 8, and now MIUI 9. So where do we stand today? Well, we did the same test that we just did, this time on the Redmi Note 4 versus the Mi A1, which is the Android One device that we launched a couple of weeks ago. When we're looking at the app launch times, performance was about the same. Out of 50 apps, MIUI was faster to launch 21 times out of 50. And it's worth noting that, particularly in this comparison, some of these tests were milliseconds apart. We really had to slow things down to see which device won. But the more important test, the 6-hour test, had much more interesting results. So let's take a look at the video here. So again, over the course of 6 hours, MIUI 9 had only 3.4 seconds more cumulative lag time versus the Mi A1. And I think these types of tests are very, very difficult to do objectively. That's why we have a lab, we have robots to do it. And I think there's a perception that MIUI performance is still worse. And what I want to share with you today is that it's not. In our lab tests, it shows we believe that MIUI is as fast as stock Android. It's not just fast. It's lightning fast. And so after 3 years, we've reached our basic goal. We consider speed and performance to be hygiene. They're not features, they're things that are a requirement. We've reached where we need to be, and now we'll continue to focus on it. It will continue to be our biggest focus for MIUI going forward. So speaking of the Mi A1, we launched that a couple of weeks ago, and people really loved the device. But when we started looking at the feedback, the most feedback we got was actually about MIUI features. So all of the stuff you see up here comes from the Mi Feedback app, which is on the Mi A1. You can also see this if you look at online reviews on online websites. You have a lot of things that people are asking for, things like the File Explorer, themes, notification status bar. My personal favorite is this one in all caps over here, which says, MIUI calling was much better than the Google UI. I totally agree with that, maybe not as passionate, but this was by far the most feedback we got, was people complaining about the lack of various MIUI features. So with MIUI 9, we're going to talk about 4 improvements to some of these things which make MIUI great. Notifications, split screen, some new icon animations, and smart photo editing. So the first is notifications. And when people are doing these comparisons to stock Android, I think this is probably the most commonly mentioned difference. And so for the global version of MIUI 9, we've made the notifications perform much more like stock Android. So here are the new MIUI 9 notifications, and we now support all major notification features and types. On the left here, you have multiple styles with inline images. You can expand it and see the full image as well as a quick action. Speaking of expanding it, I think you guys are going to really like this one. The middle one shows bundled notifications, so you can have 3 messages from WhatsApp that show up in just one card. And if you want to expand it, single finger swipe, and it expands all the messages for you. Okay, third one here on the right is quick reply. So if you want to reply directly from notifications, you just click reply, keyboard pops up, and you can send a reply to my boss directly from the notification save. So that's notifications in MIUI, completely redesigned for the global version, designed for global users, and in particular, global developers who take advantage of a lot of these features. Here's another commonly requested feature, split screen. So we use the same APIs that were built into Android N, so it works almost exactly like stock Android. Actually, we made some improvements. The biggest thing we did is we made it easier for people to swap the position of the apps. So when you're multitasking, by default, what you're doing is switching between apps. So here we have a stock Android device. Let's say you have Facebook on the top, WhatsApp here on the bottom. If you want to switch these, if you want to move the WhatsApp split screen to the top, actually it's a bit complicated on stock Android. It's a 4-step process. You have to end the split screen session, tap the menu button again, drag the WhatsApp app, this time to the top of the split screen, and then again tap the Facebook app to bring it to the bottom. So in MIUI 9, we made this a lot easier. It switches in a snap. Again, the UI is pretty much the same, but all you do is double tap this middle button, and it swaps easily, just one step. So we've also added some really cool touches to MIUI 9's design. I think a lot of the feedback we had was design-related, things like themes and some of the animations. And these icon animations are a small detail, but they're a really cool touch. So here we're in the phone app, and when we touch home, you can see the app kind of gets swallowed in the icon, and you see a nice little shake of the handset. If we're in the Mi Community app, again, tap home, sucked into the icon, and you see a little bunny ears bounce. We can do that again, because it's a little bit cooler when you focus on it. Let's zoom in here. And the Mi Community app. It's really cool, right? So we have 21 animated icons. Here's all of them up here, and there will be more coming in the next coming months. Okay, so the fourth thing I mentioned, smart photo editing. So let's say you take a beautiful photo like this, but unfortunately, you have two people here in the background kind of ruining the whole outdoorsy, alone look and feel. So with the new MIUI photo editor, you can open up the erase option, tap on the people, and they disappear. Here's another example. This is a restaurant, but unfortunately, we have the sky marred by these lines, wires up here. So again, open up the Smart Photo Editor, drag your finger across the lines, and they disappear. And it's important to note here that these images were not done on anything but a phone. This was actually done in MIUI using this feature, and even blown up on the big screen, you can't really tell, which is pretty amazing. And that's kind of the promise of MIUI. We give you features that maybe you never would have thought of, or that would cost you, in this case, hundreds of dollars worth of expensive photo editing software, and we make it available to everybody on your phone. It's pretty awesome. So those are the 4 improvements that we made to MIUI 9. Changes to notifications to support more global features, split screen, which is a much easier way to swap the apps, these really cool little icon animations, and the smart photo editing, which is powered by on-device machine learning, available to all MIUI 9 devices. Okay, let's talk about some new features. The first up is App Vault. Let's say you're in a cafe and you want to pay with Paytm. Normally, you'd have to open up your phone, try to find the app, get to the scanner, do a whole bunch of stuff. In MIUI 9, you just swipe left of your home screen, and you have a whole bunch of shortcuts here. You can see up at the top, we just have a scan button. Quickly tap on that, scan the QR code, and you're done. Here's another example. Let's say you're out shopping, and you want to take a cab home. You want to find a cab home. So with MIUI 9, again, just swipe left of your home screen. Here we have Ola, and we've pre-saved our home and work addresses. And so MIUI 9 will automatically give you an estimated fare for going home from the shopping mall. Here, let's say we want to go home. We just tap on home. It opens in the Ola app with these destinations pre-filled, and you can book a cab really quickly and easily. So I just touched on a few of them. We support a whole lot more, things like notes, scores, calendar events, and this feature is brand new. We'll be adding a lot more stuff in the coming months. Next, I want to talk about the new Mi Video app. So the video app now supports many, many more popular video formats. We have another cool feature. Let's say you have a whole bunch of different videos on your phone. We know that the top 6 here are from a TV show, the bottom here are different movies, but in a normal video player, they would all show up kind of in this haphazard jumble. So the new Mi Video app will automatically group these items that are similar to make it much easier to browse, right? All of those 6 episodes are now in a single tile, and it's easier to do what you want. The video app has a whole bunch of other cool features that I'm not going to show today, things like multilingual subtitles. If you have different audio tracks, you can switch from English to Hindi to whatever audio tracks you have. You also have support for making certain videos private on your phone. It's a really, really cool app. Encourage everybody to check it out. Next up is Mi Drop. So Mi Drop has been a popular feature in MIUI for years, but actually when we started researching, it's disproportionately popular here in India. We found that people really, really like sharing files offline, more so than anywhere else. And so in MIUI 9, we took it out of settings and made it its own separate app. It has an all-new app icon, and it's available on your home screen. We've also completely simplified the UI. There's just 2 buttons, send and receive. So if we want to receive a file, we just tap receive, wait for our friends to send the file. See, we have 3 files here. Tap accept, and you get this nice progress bar, making things quick and easy. Done, and that's it. So, Mi Drop, it's a separate app now, all new design in UI. One of my favorite features here is that you can actually resume transfers that get interrupted. So if you're transferring like a huge file, very often you might have some trouble with connectivity, and Mi Drop will let you resume it seamlessly. It's also available now on the Play Store, so you can transfer to any Android device. And if you happen to not have the internet, you can also share the Mi Drop app to your friend who doesn't have Mi Drop quickly. Either they can scan the QR code and download it from Play, but if you don't have the internet, they can just follow these steps and get the app directly from your phone and install it that way. Actually, this is pretty cool. It turns your phone into a local web server and then hosts the app so you can share it easily. So like I mentioned, Mi Drop is now available on Google Play. We've actually done this with a few of our apps recently. You might have seen the Mi Calculator app, also available on Google Play. It's, I think, by far the best calculator. Supports things like currency conversions, mortgage calculators, weight, time conversions. It's really cool. The Mi Explorer app we put on the Play Store because we got a lot of feedback from Mi A1 users that they wanted a robust file manager like we had present in MIUI. So all three of these apps are now available on the Play Store. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about some India customizations. We talked about this IRCTC card a couple months ago, and it's launching today in MIUI 9. Just to refresh your memory, I think almost everybody here has probably taken a train before. You're probably familiar with this text message that you get, which has all the information that you need, but since it's comma delimited, can be a little difficult to actually read. So in MIUI 9, we've made this much, much better. So this is all the same information, except you can actually find the things that you want. It's laid out to look like an actual ticket. I think probably the most important things here maybe are their P&R number, obviously the date and time of your journey, and also your seat number once you get to the train. But not only that, we made it even better by adding these action buttons. So you can, with one tap, check your P&R number or add this trip to your calendar. All right, now let's talk about calendar. So in MIUI 9, we've integrated a punch-on calendar into our own calendar app. So this shows all the days as per the lunar solar calendar, or I think more popularly known as the Hindu calendar. And as you can see, it even gives you a lot more details. It gives you deep insight into the moon sign, lunar months, inauspicious times. And we've also incorporated over 25 festivals into the calendar app. Raksha Bandhan, Eid, you can see a whole bunch of them here. So these festivals will show up when you're on that day here, August 15th, Independence Day. If you happen to not know much about Independence Day or you want to know more, you can just tap on the festival card and up comes a bunch of helpful information. So we have a whole bunch more stuff in the Mi Calendar app. We have news, cricket scores, schedules, and we really encourage you to check this out. A lot of this stuff was designed just specifically for India. I think this one's going to be pretty fun. Stickers. All right. Let's say you have a boring photo like this of me and Manu, but you want to jazz it up a little bit. I don't know, I think this looks better, but maybe you want to make it a little bit more fun. I think we're getting close. Maybe one other thing. So you can add mustaches, hair, a whole bunch of different things. You can do a lot of stuff with these stickers. Hair, cricket helmets, a lot of accessories, things like jewelry, glasses. Can do really cute things. It's pretty nice. And actually, there are 12 different sticker sets. The top 4 that you see here were designed exclusively for India by our local Indian R&D team based out of Bangalore. Okay, themes. Themes has been one of the banner features of MIUI since MIUI 1. And of course, with MIUI 9, we have a new theme. This theme is called Limitless. It's available in the out-of-box experience, so when you first start setting up MIUI. The theme on the left here is the default MIUI theme. And the Limitless theme changes the icons to look a little bit more to the global style, and it also changes the background. So here we have a rectangular background with rounded corners, whereas the Limitless theme has a transparent background. We also have an India exclusive theme, again, designed by our local R&D team. This is available in the theme store. So that's themes. All right, coming to security. So I think many of you might have seen this minor Wi-Fi vulnerability in WPA2. It's called crack. And the fix for this will go out via a Google security patch, I think the November security patch. And in MIUI, this is actually fixed already. And it's not just fixed for recent devices. We backport this patch to phones going as far back as the Mi 2, which was launched in 2012. So I think, as far as we're aware, this is by far the oldest Android phone which will have this patch. Even Google devices do not get security updates for 5 years. And we are supporting a 5-year-old phone with the latest security patch. I think in the video someone mentioned the thing he really liked about MIUI was updates. And Mi fans know a lot about these updates. But these updates are not just features, they already also include things like security, which is obviously critical. Okay, so that's a good overview of MIUI 9. We made a short video to summarize some of these features. Let's take a look. MIUI 9, lightning fast. And it's important to point out that all of these features, we don't do all of this by ourselves. A lot of these features were powered by our partners, some of which you see up here on the screen. In fact, next week, we have our first ever MIUI Partnership Day here actually in Gurgaon. And we hope to bring more of these types of features powered by our partners just for India. So big thank you to all of the partners. This is a slide that I'm sure you're all interested in, which is what devices are getting MIUI 9. We've listed this here by the launch year of that device. And again, I think impressively, if you go down here, you see numbers like 2012 and 2013. As far as we're aware, somebody please tell me if I'm wrong, but as far as we're aware, this is the oldest Android smartphone in the world to still get official updates from the manufacturer. So we don't just support updates for the latest devices. These isn't just for flagship devices. You see devices like the Redmi 2, the Redmi Note 4G, they're all getting MIUI 9. We have over 2,000 engineers working on MIUI, and this is a lot of the stuff they do. They try to bring the latest and greatest features available to as many people as possible. So speaking of availability, probably more interesting than this slide is when is it coming to your device? So starting tomorrow, the MIUI 9 stable version will roll out to the Redmi Note 4, the Mi Max 2, and the Mi Mix 2. This will begin in a staged rollout. We plan to update every single device on the previous slide the stable version by the end of the month. And of course, if you can't wait, the beta version is available for everything right now. So that's MIUI 9. What do you think? I think you really like it once you get a chance to play with it. All right, coming to our next announcement. Manu already mentioned the new series, the Redmi Y. It's the newest addition to our Redmi series, and we have two devices to tell you about today. So first up, the Redmi Y1. And our hashtag today, as Manu mentioned, was your best selfie. And in recent years, the front camera is becoming more and more important, particularly because of the rise of the selfie. In fact, even for me, it's difficult to remember a time when smartphones didn't have a front camera. Actually, I personally use it as a mirror. I think after watching this video, I was told I need to shave, so. But there are two common challenges to taking a great selfie: low-resolution cameras and low-light situations. And here's a typical shot taken from a 5-megapixel camera. When you zoom in, you see that it lacks details, and most importantly, it has a lot of noise. For low light, here's some shots under low light. This happens a lot indoors. They tend to look like this. In this photo, you can see the graininess on her face, but particularly in the background. On the white background there's just all these spots. Low light just makes it really difficult for a front camera to capture details accurately. So the Redmi Y1 has our first ever dedicated LED selfie light. It also has a 16-megapixel front-facing camera. And it has a 5-element lens with an f2.0 aperture. It also comes with a whole lot of other features, such as our new Beautify mode with 36 smart profiles. But back to noise. So image noise is a big problem, and I mentioned particularly for selfies. And so here's a typical sensor coming to noise. So what happens is when the light hits the sensor, read noise, all of these little boxes are pixels. So when the light hits the sensor, read noise is produced in each of these individual pixels before it's transferred to the processor, image processor. So Redmi Y1 uses a technique called pixel binning. This takes a cluster of pixel values in the camera sensor and combines them, creates one super pixel. So the overall noise is reduced in this super pixel instead of spread out over multiple smaller pixels. And importantly, this improves the quality and low light performance of images. It helps us solve the noise problem, reducing image noise in the final photo, and it also effectively increases the sensitivity of the sensor. It gives you a clearer and sharper photo. But the LED selfie light is not just for indoor and low light shots. It also gives you an additional sparkle to your eye, something that we call the catch light. These are gleams of light in your eye, kind of similar to, like a J.J. Abrams lens flare. And if we zoom in here, you can see it much more clearly. The catch light is one of the secrets to a great-looking selfie. So we combine hardware and software with the 60-megapixel front camera and an LED selfie light, as well as things like pixel binning and, of course, our Beautify mode to get some really good images. So let's take a look at some of the comparison shots here. These two phones here are from the typical selfie phones. All of these devices have selfie lights, but since we've also spent a lot of time tuning the software, we think our image looks a lot better. And in particular, the thing to notice here is the white balance. So if you look on the left here, the white balance is a little too cool. It looks kind of gray, looks off. But if you look on the right, it's too warm. The colors are totally wrong, and especially if you look at the background, it's just way off. Since we've spent so much time tuning the hardware and software, we think we've achieved a good result. We have the best white balance that we can get thanks to the LED light and our software algorithms. Let's take a look at some of the other selfies shot on Redmi Y1. You can see the catch lights here. They add depth to the photo and make it more lively. In this one, we have catch lights in both eyes, really natural and pleasing. So that's our goal. It's to make your selfies bright, clear, and beautiful. And that's what we did with the front camera of the Redmi Y1. 16 megapixel front camera with an LED selfie light. All of this combined with things like pixel binning and of course the features you know and love like the selfie countdown, beautified mode, etc. It gives you great photos, particularly under lower light. So moving to the rear camera, the Redmi Y1 comes with 13 megapixel camera. It's PDAF autofocus. Has several built-in features like HDR, real-time filters, panorama. And just to do a quick, some of the quick shots here. Here you see some great details on the rock. Importantly, because of PDAF, the entire image here is in focus. You can even see some details in the puddle of the clouds. This shows off the depth of field, and you still have good, accurate colors on the flowers. And here is a nice photo to show the high dynamic range, beautiful exposed, and still really nice colors. Okay, so that's the camera. Now let's talk about the design. Here's the Redmi Y1. This is the dark gray with the black front. And this is a view from the front and the back. And here's the gold version. You can see that it has the curved edges that we've made very popular, which gives it really great hand feel. I think the gold version looks really great. So each of these Redmi Y1 back covers actually goes through a 6-step manufacturing process. And this gives us three things, really. It gives us a brushed metallic feel finish. It gives good looks, and it makes the phone feel more solid and gives it great hand feel. The Y1 also has a rear fingerprint sensor, and you can unlock your phone in just 0.3 seconds. Coming to the display, it's a 5.5-inch device with 2.5D curved glass. It also has Corning Gorilla Glass to protect your phone against accidental scratches. Here's some lifestyle shots. It's a great accessory. It's definitely a head turner. And speaking of head turning, for the first time in India ever, we have a product endorser for the Redmi Y series. It's the one and only Katrina Kaif. She happens to be, as I'm sure you're all aware, one of India's leading actresses and best-known faces throughout the country. Given the products that we're launching today in the Redmi Y series, we felt that she was the perfect fit. Both the Y series and Katrina exude a sense of self-expression. So a great camera with beautiful design, that's the Redmi Y1. But coming to the hardware, of course, we don't cut any corners. Redmi Y1 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 435, as well as 3 gigabytes of RAM for good multitasking, with 32 gigabytes of internal storage. Coming to thermal performance, this is something that we take very, very seriously in all of our phones. And it's, as you know, is particularly important here in India. We put a lot of work in on the Redmi Y1 to improve the thermal performance. So what causes your phone to heat up? Well, every component, every electrical component in your phone generates some heat. Things like the CPU, camera, GPS, that kind of stuff. And so this is especially a problem when you're using multiple of these things at the same time. So what we have in Redmi Y1 here is an aluminum alloy mid-frame. It has high thermal conductivity. And so what that means is that any heat that's generated is spread out much more quickly and efficiently across the surface of the phone. And the result of this is that your phone cools down much more quickly. In fact, it's 2 times more efficient at heat dissipation compared to magnesium, which is another commonly used material, and up to 10 times more efficient than stainless steel. So ultimately, thermal performance of your phone comes down to many different factors. And it's a particular focus for our R&D team from now and going forward. Redmi Y1 also has a dedicated micro SD card slot. Maybe I don't need to explain this too much. Like most of the phones that we've launched in India, Redmi Y1 ships with an infrared remote. It's compatible with hundreds of brands, thousands of models. We spent a lot of time on making sure that we have compatibility for models here in India, especially thanks to our Mi fans. So that's a quick summary of the hardware of the Redmi Y1. Power to achieve more. There's a Qualcomm Snapdragon, of course, the infrared remote that you all know and love. Coming to the software, MIUI 9 will be available to the Redmi Y1 starting in the middle of November, the stable update. Before we do that, Redmi Y1 is made in India. Quick summary of the version here: 3 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of internal storage, Qualcomm Snapdragon 435. Price? So we also have a 4 gigabyte version. This has 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and it's priced just $10,999. So that's the Redmi Y1. 16 megapixel front camera with the LED selfie light, rear fingerprint sensor, Qualcomm Snapdragon 435, and 2 versions, 332 for $8,999 and 464 for $10,999. I think the phone looks pretty good, right? All right. Second product, the Redmi Y1 Lite. Big display, great performance. Just like the Y1, it also has a 5.5-inch HD display with Corning Gorilla Glass. Let me talk a little bit more about why we think this 5.5-inch display is important. So here's the chart we put together with some data from IDC as well as our own internal analysis. And what this shows is 5.5-inch, the market share of 5.5-inch devices by price. And if you can see here, when you go above 10,000 rupees, 5.5-inch phones have a huge market share, over 50%. From 15 to 20,000 rupees, it's almost 80% in certain quarters. But when you look below 10,000 rupees, 6 to 10,000, the numbers are much, much lower. It's like 5, 10%. So why is that? Well, we think there's 2 possible reasons. Maybe people who buy a phone below 10,000 rupees just don't want a bigger display. That's possible. But when we started looking at the devices that were actually launched in this segment, we realized it's a product problem. There just aren't any good phones with 5.5-inch displays available in this price range. And the Y1 and the Y1 Lite are here to change that. So the Y1 Lite has great hand feel, has the same curved edges, and it's also super lightweight, it's just 150 grams. It's available in 2 different colors, dark gray and gold. The Y1 Lite runs on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 425, awesome quad-core processor. Has a 3080 milliamp hour battery, which will last you through the whole day. Again, like the Y1, also has a dedicated micro SD card slot. Supports up to 128 gigabytes of expandable storage, by the way. So I just want to talk quickly about durability. So these are some of the tests that we ran on the Y1 Lite. You can see going through hardware tests. In particular here, we test the SD card And these are some of the same tests that we do on our Mi series of phones. But we make sure to do this across the range of our phones. Much like with MIUI, we don't bring innovation just to the expensive devices. And innovation isn't always new features. Quality is critical. So we want to spend a little bit of time showing what we do, even for devices in this price range. UI 9 for the Y1 Lite will be available again in November. I would get in trouble for that one, I think. Price. But first, 5.5-inch display, again, which we think is particularly important because there just aren't any good phones. There aren't any phones like this available in this price range. You have 2 SIM card slots with a dedicated SD card, the Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, and things like the IR Blaster, which people are really like. Not yet. It's also, Y1 Lite is also made in India. And coming to the version, it comes with 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of internal storage, expandable up to 128 gigabytes. And the price? Whoa. I think there's some sort of mistake. So we do a lot of rehearsal, and if you come to our rehearsals, you'll see that all of these prices are usually listed as like 999999999, and just before we start, we change everything. So all of this stuff is done last minute. So that's the Redmi Y1 Lite. Here's a quick summary again. 6999, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of internal storage, a 5.5-inch display, but still has great performance, doesn't cut corners on the hardware, and the same 13-megapixel PDAF camera from the Y1. We have a great offer from our partners at IDEA for both the Y1 and the Y1 Lite. New IDEA prepaid customers can get up to 280 gigabytes of free 4G data. Okay. So for availability, let me call Manu back on stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, so both these products, Redmi Y1 and the Y1 Lite, are being launched in partnership with Amazon. So yes, these will be Amazon exclusive products. And to talk more about this, I'll call on stage Manish, who is a vice president with Amazon. Manish.
Manu. So first of all, let me thank the entire team from Xiaomi. I think we've had a partnership with them for the last almost starting 2015. I have a script in front of me on the teleprompter, but I'm going to say something different. I think there's a reason why Amazon and Xiaomi has been working so well together. I probably attend launches once a week, and this is the first time I have actually seen consumers sitting in front of me, and that shows how customer-obsessed this entire company is, which is exactly what Amazon stands for. These are two organizations which are obsessed with what their customers want, and which is why I think we work so well. So thank you, Manu. Thank you, Raghu, and the entire team over here. In Amazon, we really get excited when we see products which delight our customers. And when I see some of the features which were being spoken about, there were so many of them which actually made me say, wow, why didn't someone bring it in earlier? And I think this entire customer delight around self-expression comes out really, really well in the product offering. So we are very excited about it. This product will be in the market around 9th of November,
8th of November.
8th of November, sorry. I got a day late and probably reserved that day for making sure I book my own phone quickly. And we are very excited with this. So thank you once again. And it's a delight to see fans coming for a launch. I hope more brands follow this trend. Thank you. Thanks, Manu.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you. So as Manish mentioned, the first sale is on 8th of November. It's at 12 noon across both the platforms, Amazon and me.com. And then subsequently, it will also be available across all our offline partners, Me Homes, Me Preferred Partners, and all our retail chains. I'm also happy to share, we're introducing a new retail partnership with Reliance Digital. So starting Y1, you can buy your favorite Xiaomi phones across thousands of Reliance Digital stores. So that's all, guys. In the beginning of this presentation, I said there are 4 big announcements. Let us count them again. We spoke about MIUI 9, Redmi Y1, Redmi Y1 Lite, and which was the 4th one? That we have a product endorser here for Y1 series. And the big surprise for you guys is that we have this person between us. So let me call on stage our superstar for the day, Katrina. Can we get a mic for Katrina?
Good afternoon, everybody. Are you guys having a good time? Come on, I can hear you make more noise than that from that side of the room. Come on, who's excited to be here today? I've been hearing Manu's speech backstage. I was behind the door, so I also got to know even more about this amazing brand. So I'm extremely excited to be here today with the Xiaomi team to be launching the Redmi Y1 phone, which is an incredible phone. And I'm sure that you guys are all gonna love your selfie with this new phone. And it's really, really, it's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here today, to be able to meet you all. It's been a long time since I've come to Delhi. And thank you so much for that introduction.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's have an official photo op. Can I also ask Jay to join us? Jay, can you come back on stage? Why don't you come in? Should we take a selfie, since this is a selfie-focused phone? Okay. Can I also ask Manish to join us on stage? Please come. Okay. Okay. Maybe come a little bit in the front.
Here, come. Squeeze in.
Okay. What do you say? Should we do a selfie with the fans? Okay. Why don't you guys stand on? Be there only. Just stand on your chair. Just stand up. Okay. Okay, maybe we'll just turn around and do a selfie with
okay.
these guys.
Why don't we wait for these for them to clear a little bit? You want to do it this way, Manu?
Okay,
come.
Okay, guys, make some sound. Come on.
lot of storage.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay, guys, please be seated now. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Katrina, for joining us. Thank you. Thank you. Please. Sure. Yeah, I think you can. Okay. I think it's okay. Just wait for like a few seconds. Okay. Okay. What do you want? You want more pictures? Okay, guys, we'll give you 30 more seconds. You can take as many pictures as you want. Okay. Sure, why not? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Peace. Okay, guys. Please be seated. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Special thanks to everybody who was watching us on live stream. That's all that we had to announce. I will request all our media colleagues to please move to the experience zone and check out the new MIUI 9 on your Redmi Y1 and Y1 Lite. All our Mi fans, please stay back. We'll have a special session with Sir Jaimani. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.